Hey, I'm the Boomer Consumer and welcome to my channel. I would appreciate your support by liking this video and hitting the subscribe button. I want to show you something really special in this video, and that is the Vanatoo Transparent One Encore Plus Active Speakers. Yeah, it's a pretty long name. You know, I think the greatest compliment you can give any audio manufacturer is when ordinary people come into your home, your office, whatever, and they give a listen to a product, and then they are absolutely delighted by it. And this happened not once, twice, but 3 different times with these speakers. I'm going to refer to these as the TE1 Plus going forward. Now, these are ideal for a small room, such as a bedroom, a home office, or a soundbar substitute. Really, these speakers can do just about anything you might need. They can connect via USB to a PC or Mac with its USB input. You can connect, say, a CD player to the coaxial input, a TV to the optical input. There's also a 3.5 millimeter analog input as well. So Vanatoo really has you covered. Now, for more information, check out the link in the description below. You can order these in black veneer or cherry veneer finish. I think the black is around $650 and the cherry is $670. Oh, the warranty is for 3 years. Now, as for the build quality of these two-way speakers, well, let's just say they're solidly built. With 3-inch thick MDF, there is very little cabinet resonance going on. Now, these are bi-amp speakers using Class D amplification capable of 100 watts for the 5¼ inch aluminum bass driver and 20 watts going to the 1-inch aluminum tweeter with a waveguide. There's also a 5¼ inch passive radiator. Now, surprisingly, these small form factor speakers that measure only 10 inches high by 6½ inches wide and 7½ inches in depth, well, they deliver incredible sound. But more about that a bit later. I forgot to mention that they weigh 12 pounds and 11 pounds. Now, there's a lot of features of the TE1 Plus, so I won't go into everything, but some of the highlights are support for Bluetooth 5 with SBC, aptics, aptics HD, and AAC. One cool feature that I think is the auto switching feature. So when you change sources, the speakers will switch over to that source on their own without grabbing the remote control. Now, there's also built-in short circuit, thermal, and overload current protection. Now, frequency response is 48 Hz to 20 kHz. There is DSP built in as well. So adding a powered subwoofer, the speakers will allow either an 80 Hz crossover or 125 Hz crossover. Another feature is the 24-bit DSP that really helps TE1 Plus excel in bass and presentation. There's also a control to change whether the active speaker is on the left or right side. One last thing is that the speaker will go into sleep mode after a period of about 20 minutes with no signal. Now, the built-in DAC offers digital specifications that are up to 24-bit and 96 kHz for optical, coaxial, and USB as well. In the box, beside the 2 speakers, there are a number of accessories including the magnetic grills, which I didn't use, the remote control, a small stick-on isolation feed, a USB to Type A to Type B cable, a 3.5 millimeter analog cable, a speaker wire, 4-pin, and a quick start guide. On the front of the TE1 speakers are the 5¼ inch aluminum bass driver, the 1-inch aluminum tweeter with waveguide, and an LED indicator light. On the rear, you have the volume control, treble, and bass controls, the power connector, the power switch, the subwoofer output, analog input, Bluetooth pairing button, power indicator, the left-right switch, a USB service port, the USB Type-B port, an optical input, and a coaxial input. Now let's just touch on the remote for just a bit. This is one of the better remotes that I've seen with the Streamer DAC. It's a nice, smooth kind of a rubber soft touch material. There are buttons for the sources, mute, volume, auto mode. Interestingly, there is an enable button that you have to press to adjust the bass and treble, as well as selecting Bluetooth. The enable button has to be pressed prior to making these adjustments. As far as testing, the gear I used was a Mac Mini using Apple Music connected via USB. I also connected it to my NAD C528 CD player as a transport via coaxial input. And most of the testing was via network streaming. I used a TE1 Plus in near-field setup, as I think this is how they'll be used by many customers. For music, the first album I selected was Billie Holiday's Lady in Satin, the track I'm a Fool to Want You. I found the vocals to be just slightly forward but not unpleasant. The highs were clear and sharp without any sibilance. The strings sounded absolutely amazing. On the next album I played was Carly Simon's Film Noir. The track Every Time We Say Goodbye, the bass had tremendous impact for such a compact speaker. Carly's voice was clear and detailed. The highs were bright and clean. In a way, it kind of reminded me of my Klipsch RP600Ms. Next was the title track, Film Noir. This track gave a sparkle to Carly's voice I haven't even noticed before. And then I've heard this track many times on a ton of different setups. One other album of note, and one of my all-time favorites really, is Eric Clapton's Unplugged. If you've not heard the term PRAT, which stands for pace, rhythm, and timing, which means to me the music in the system gets those toes tapping, the track Hey Hey, well, the TE1 Plus really does get your feet tapping. I even felt the bass in this track shake my desk a bit. Okay, so now's the time to cover what I liked and not so much liked about the TE1 Plus. Really, there's so much to like about these, but here's just some of them. I love the sound quality of these little speakers. My family and friends were super impressed with the sound. I like the beautiful finish on these. The cherry veneer is just absolutely stunning. The DAC sounds excellent and performs well, and I like all the inputs that are available. I like the size of these speakers. They won't take up a ton of space. And at 120 watts per channel, these speakers pack a lot of power. And I like the subwoofer output, and the DSP does a great job of delivering rich sound. Now, what I'm not so crazy about, and to be fair, these are more of suggestions. Please include an HDMI ARC port on the next version. It's 2024, and this would be giving the speakers a lot more flexibility. I think it'd be great to have an app to control things like EQ and adjusting DSP defaults. I also found making changes to DSP defaults to be a bit complicated. Ultimately, these will do and make an excellent replacement for a soundbar and probably beat most sub-$1,000 subbars in texture and detail. I think you're gaining a high, if not higher quality system for less money. But as I said in the beginning, that ordinary non-audiophiles absolutely love the look and sound of these speakers. So they're definitely worth checking out. And this is my review of the Vanatoo Transparent One Encore Plus speakers. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.